Hello everyone. Today is the 13th video of my database management systems question video series, and I'm going to do the third video of the fourth day of database management systems, and it's also going to be the 13th video of the 13th question of the question list. We are continuing the question 11 from the previous video. And today I'm going to do the same. We have to continue the question 11 in this video too. You can see in the question, here's the previous question, question 12. We completed this one and created the supply table and the customer table. If you didn't watch that video, please go watch that video first, because otherwise you will not understand what I'm talking and creating in this video. So let's go to our question 13. Here's the question 13. Let's read the question and then answer for these questions. The store owner says that the details of all the products sold in this store need to be stored in the computer software. To do this, create a table called product to store product details. Follow the instructions below to create a table. Let's create this table and then go to the next question. You can see here's the table. It's called product, and here are the attributes: product ID, product code, and product name. There are three attributes in this table, and we have to create this table in the previous database we created. So I'm going to open my software called the software used in the previous videos, MySQL Workbench, and here are the tables we created, and actually this is the ER diagram we created in the previous videos. So I'm going to add a new table to this diagram. You know how to add a table. You can click on the place a new table tool, and then click on a empty space in the work area, and right click on the table and then edit table. Okay, here we can rename the table to product. We are creating the product table, and then here's the attributes inside that table. Product ID, it's going to be the primary key, and it's also going to be auto implemented, and here's the date type int, and here's the product code. It's going to be the data type is varchar, and character length is 45, and product name. Okay, those are the attributes: product ID, code, and name. Okay, here's the first one, product ID, and I'm going to auto increment this attribute, so that will automatically define this attribute as the primary key. And here's the second one, product code. Okay, the automatic data type is the correct one, varchar, and the correct length is 45, so we don't have to change anything. And I'm defining the not null option to this table, to this attribute. And here's the last one, product name, with a character length of 45. Product name. Here you can see the data type and the character lengths are correct, and I'm going to define the not null checkbox to this not null option to this attribute too. So we created our new table called product. So we completed our first part of the question, and here's the second part. The owner of the shop says that he wants to enter the information of all the bills paid by the suppliers into the computer software. To do this, create a table named GRN. Follow the instructions given when creating. Okay, we have to follow these instructions when we are creating this table, and we have to create a table called GRN to store the bills paid by the suppliers. Okay. Let's create this table too. I think I don't have to uh, I think I don't have to repeat myself and explain what we did in the previous table. This table is going to be the same when we are creating. I'm going to use the same method. So let's go to our Workbench software. We are creating the table called grn. Here's a new table, and I'm editing it, changing the name to grn, and here's the first attribute, grn id, and it's the primary key and auto incremented. Grn id, and it will be the primary key. Okay. Here's the second attribute, date, and then the quantity, unit price, and the total amount. Okay. The date attribute is going to store date, so that's why the data type is data type change to date. That means that will store a value with a date format, like years, then months and dates. That's going to be the format of the data type which is storing in this attribute. Okay. And then the quantity is int. You can see the quantity, the data type of the quantity is int. That means quantity cannot be stored as a floating point with floating points or a string value. Those are not suitable for storing quantities. We have to use integer values. So that's why the data type is int. And here's the unit price and the total amount. Those are the prices. When we are defining or storing prices, we cannot store prices as integer values. The prices can be there can be floating points in a price. So the suitable data type is double. The data type double, when we define the data type as double, it will store values with floating points. So we can easily enter or store prices in our attribute. Okay. Here are the attributes, and let's create other attributes: date, quantity, unit price, and total amount. Date, quantity, QTY means the quantity, and let me go to the question, unit price and total amount. Unit price, and here's the last attribute, total amount. Okay, here we defined all the attributes. Let's change the data types of these attributes. I'm changing the data type of the date attribute to date, and then here's the quantity attribute. I'm changing it to integer, int, and here's the unit price. I'm changing it to double. Here's the data type double, and I'm changing the last attribute data type of the last attribute to double 2, and I'm defining not null option to all the attributes. So we created our grn table. Here's our grn table. You can see there's already 5 tables here. I think we have to create more tables. Here we completed our second part, and here's the third one. It's the last one of this question. This software should be able to retrieve the number of items received from suppliers, and the number of items provided by suppliers should not change when selling the product. Okay. Your team suggests creating a separate stock table for this issue. Follow the instructions below to create a stock table. Okay, when we are selling items in a store, the quantity will be decreased, but in this case, we have to store a record. What are the quantities we bought from our suppliers before we are selling those products? So that's why we have to create this table called stock. And let's create this table. You can see the attributes. Here's the first one, stock ID, and then quantity and selling price. You can see the quantity is double and selling price is double too. But usually the quantity cannot be in double. I think there's some mistake in the question, uh, but I'm going to leave it this way. But usually the quantity cannot be changed. Usually the quantity should be in the integer format. So let's create our table stock. Let's go to our software. Here I'm creating a new table and then edit that one and changing the name to stock. Here's the first attribute, stock ID, and I'm auto incrementing that uh, attribute. You can see stock ID is the primary key and it should be auto incremented, and here's the quantity and the selling price, QTY, and the selling price. Okay, I'm changing the data type to double, and I have to repeat myself. I like to repeat myself uh, and emphasize this fact. The quantity should be stored as integer values and not double values. But in the question, we have to store the quantity value as double. But there can be any effect to the data we are storing. We can when we define a double value, we can store integer values, and plus we can enter floating points too. So I defined those two attributes, and here we completed our stock table, and we complete our ER diagram, but that doesn't mean that we made our changes to the database. We only change our ER diagram. So for adding these new tables to the database, I'm going to synchronize this model. What is the synchronized model is, because I explained it in my previous video. If you didn't watch that video, please go watch that video. I'm not going to explain what synchronized model is in this video. I explained forward engineering method and the synchronized model. What are the difference between those two methods? I'm going to use the synchronized model. And here you can see the connection to our database. I'm going to press the next button, and here's our database. We are going to update, and here you can see here are the existing tables inside our database, and these are the new tables we are going to insert to this database. You can see the NA means there's no table under this name called product, GRN, and stock. Let's click next, and here you can see the DDL query in order to create or change our database. And here, let's execute this query. Okay, we complete our synchronization. You can see the synchronization completed successfully. Now we can close this one, and I'm going to show you the changes using HeidiSQL browser. You can see here's the HeidiSQL software, and here's our database. Our changes are not here yet because we didn't refresh our connection. Let's refresh this one. Here's the refresh button. I press on the refresh button, and then let's see. You can see our new tables are here: product, GRN, and stock. I think that's it for this video. This question we completed question 13, and I'm going to stop this video, and let's see you in the next video. And thank you very much for watching.